President Trump is saying there is great unity in the Republican Party after the strike on Iran. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds joins me now. Congressman, is there any kind of split? We've heard talk of this, that there's a split inside the MAGA movement. Is there a split?
I mean, look, you have some members of the movement who are not happy. But let's just be realistic about where we are. We could not let Iran get a nuclear device. They were enriching uranium upwards of 60% and higher. That is a fact. And then the last piece is that there was a strategic opportunity to eliminate their enrichment facilities, and we did that. We obliterated them. And so at the end of the day, you have a terrorist regime in Iran. They have killed American troops. They have fomented terror through the Middle East and around the globe. We have been trying to negotiate in good faith. President Trump tried to negotiate in good faith. But the Iranians were doing what they've been doing really for the last 25 years. And so at this point, we weren't going to follow the lead of Barack Obama or Joe Biden. We were really going to do something serious about this. The opportunity presented itself, and the president of the United States made the correct decision in obliterating those nuclear facilities.
AOC is calling for Trump to be impeached. That's really highly unlikely, isn't it, Congressman?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, again, with her. So stupid, so ridiculous. All this is just, trying to say something to get on TV or have a soundbite that gets carried in media. The Democrats didn't say anything when Barack Obama launched airstrikes against Libya. When Barack Obama launched airstrikes against Syria, they did nothing. They were quiet. They cheered him on, so on and so forth. The president of the United States does have constitutional authority for strikes when it comes to military force. That's why they're the commander in chief. And so a lot of colleagues on Capitol Hill, they're talking about the War Powers Act. But the War Powers Act is something that's been litigated in court time and time again, and it does not obstruct a president of the United States from using military assets when they are in the key national interest. And I will add, one of the things that is crystal clear is that the Iranians were trying to actually create nuclear weapons. There's a reason why they have a ballistic weapon system, ballistic missiles weapon systems. There's a reason why they were trying to create ICBMs. And that was simply not to just have things they can light off as fireworks in the sky above the skies of Tehran. They wanted it to be able to flex their power in that region and around the globe. And since they are a terror factory, that is a fact, we simply could not let that happen.
One more for you, Congressman. The deadline, as you know, for the big, beautiful bill coming up, it's July the 4th. Does the Iran strike help or hurt that timetable?
No, two different things, totally. I think Congress right now, we have to demonstrate that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think the key thing around one big, beautiful bill are going to be the differences between House and Senate. I think where we are right now, unless the Senate moves pretty quickly this week to pass major provisions of the bill, this could actually go to conference and get resolved. So we may not hit July 4th, but I think we'll get it done pretty quickly, all things being equal.
Got it. Congressman, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being with us on a very important day. We like that. Thank you, sir.